Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock. With news, markets are starting to worry that the Chinese economic revival may not be sustainable. In China, their official factory PMI expanded marginally faster in July than for June. The service sector PMI is expanding much faster, but slowed marginally in July than June. Both were boosted by construction activity and official stimulus priorities, so that it may not be sustainable. And new order growth was modest in both sectors, even if they were expanding. China's reverted to its old stimulus playbook of local construction and encouraging exports to weather this economic crisis. Elsewhere in Asia, June industrial production in Japan came in much better than expected and positive from May. And retail sales in South Korea came in much better than expected, and a large 6% rise compared with the same month in 2019. However, Taiwan GDP growth for the second quarter of 2020 didn't eventuate, and there was a surprise small contraction for them. In Hong Kong, their jobless rate has risen to its highest in 15 years. In the US, they released personal income and expenditure data for June over the weekend, and the results seem unsustainable. Personal income fell 1.1% on top of the 4.4% fall in May, but personal spending rose 5.6% in June on top of the 8.3% rise in May. Dipping into household reserves and savings to maintain spending can only last so long, and this data suggests they are much closer to a widespread earthquake in the way American household budgets are managed. American consumer sentiment is slipping too. In the last 4 months, this sentiment index has recorded a decline of 25% from the same period in 2019. In Australia, Victoria declared a state of disaster over the weekend and imposed stage 4 lockdowns for 6 weeks, including an 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew imposed on Melbourne, and people are restricted to a 5-kilometre radius from their home. The pandemic crisis in Victoria is dashing expectations of a V-recovery in Australia. In fact, any recovery for the whole country. The Victorian state government is at a fiscal cliff, appealing to Canberra for emergency financial support. The US Treasury 10 yield is little changed but softer over the weekend. It's now at 0.53%, and that's a new record low. And the gold price will start the week at a very high $1,976 an ounce. Headlines will no doubt light up soon as it crosses the $2,000 level. Oil prices start the week firmer than this time last week. They're now just on $40.50 a barrel in the US, and the international price is at $43.50 a barrel. But the Kiwi dollar is starting the week with a softer tone and back to similar levels at this time last week at 66.3 US cents. Against the Australian dollar, we're softer than a week ago at 92.9 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're 0.75 cents lower in a week at 56.3 euro cents. That means our trade-weighted index is at 69.6, and that's a 50 basis point fall for the week. I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.